Welcome to the JP8 Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 Report, episode 271, Victory in Tennessee 7. Welcome, everybody. Great news from last night, wasn't it? Great news. So we'll be getting to that and a lot more today with JP8 Report. Come on. Slides don't want to cooperate. Come on. You know the deal about PowerPoint. I hope you do. Okay, there we go. All right. And the president's supposed to be making an announcement on from the White House in about an hour and a half also. So be prepared for that. So, like I said, welcome to the JP8 Report. I got my 100th follower yesterday. Awesome. Name is, I'll give you the screen name, make her famous. Cinderella Hamilton. Thank you very, very much for being a part of the JP8 Report. I really appreciate that. So any other people out there that have not followed the JP8 Report, click that follow button and then go right next to it and click that like button and please share it, all right? It's just a way that we can attract more followers, get more action in the Rumble algorithm. I do, if you're not an actual follower and the first time ever here or watching it on demand, I do simulcast this live from Rumble, which is my headquarters, from Rumble to Facebook, from Rumble to X, and then maybe one day we'll do Rumble to ScrewTube, but YouTube requires 50 subscribers, and I think I got 14 now, I think. I went back and checked it this morning. People are actually watching the videos, so I may need to go back and check those subscription numbers to see if we got a couple more of them on there. But if you go to YouTube and look for the JP8 Report 67, that's the channel name for it, subscribe to it, please. I really appreciate that. So here we go with the JP8 Report. So for our America 250 moment, December 3rd, 1775, Lieutenant John Paul Jones raised the Grand Union flag aboard the colonial warship Alfred. It is the first national flag of the United States. Some of y'all think the Betsy Ross flag was. It was not. This predates the Declaration of Independence. This is exactly what it looks like. Okay? Just so y'all know. All right? And I got a little bit more stuff I want to talk about on it too. But let me get back over here. All right. So it says on December 3, 1775, the Grand Union flag, also known as the Continental Colors, was reportedly raised for the first time aboard the colonial warship Alfred. This is considered to be the first time the United States flew a national flag. Sort of like that one, right? But this is our current one. All right. The flag was hoisted by Lieutenant John Paul Jones and is seen as the first national flag of the United States. The flag was the Grand Union flag combined of 13 red and white stripes representing the American colonies and the British Union Jack in the corner, symbolizing a hope for reconciliation at the time, which we knew was a false hope because we are the United States of America now. The Alfred was commissioned as the first American warship, and John Paul Jones, who would later become a key figure in the American Navy, served as its first lieutenant, and the raising of the flag of the Alfred marked a pivotal moment in the American Revolution, signifying the creation of a unified American naval force and a distinct entity. All right, so that was our very first national flag. Y'all just saw a picture. I don't know if that. Okay, I found that picture and I could not find it again to make a proper citation for it. But that actually looked like a flag that was inside of a picture frame. So that might have been a retrieved artifact from the American Revolution. If it was, hats off to them. All right, today is Wednesday. So the Dalmatian opened up yesterday because they're open Tuesday through Saturdays. But these are Texas burgers or smash burgers and hot dogs from Copper's Cove. All their ingredients are homemade, including their buns. They're open from 11 to 2 and 5:30 to 7, unless they sell out. And like I said, they're open Tuesday through Saturday. And they're located at Town Square behind bushes on the west side of Copper's Cove. All right. So if you get hungry, which I may take off after this podcast and go down and get me one, that would be great. Have y'all clicked that follow, that like button yet? Just waiting. Okay, so next. Let me move this. Oops, sorry about that, guys. All right, so last night, and you could probably tell by the title of the podcast that that we were victorious last night. So this is the end result. Mr. Van Epps won by 15,000 votes, 96,988 to 81,044, because he loves country music and he loves Nashville, and he won by almost 10 points. As you could probably see, a picture was Sean Hannity on there, right? At the time when they put this up, they were ahead by 15,000, which is about the split. Now, I don't care what they say. A win is a win. And you're going to always do an after-action review on a win in a political race. Almost anything in life, right? But that is that's life in itself. So, there's going to be another one probably in the summer, late spring, summer, because the other quitter, the first one was Mark Green, the next one's going to be Marjorie Taylor Greene. They both got the same last name. I didn't even realize that. But we regained one of our lost seats, which we didn't flip nothing. We just regained it because it was vacant. All right. This is what President Trump had to say about the race last night. Congratulations to Matt Van Epps on his big congressional win in the great state of Tennessee. The radical left Democrats threw everything at him, including millions of dollars. Another great night for the Republican Party. President DJT. All right. Hey, we won. And people were nervous. I don't know if they were actually trying to be nervous or what. But we won. That's all that matters, okay? Republicans, this is from FoxNews.com. Republicans will hold on to a GOP-controlled vacant congressional seat in Ruby Red, Tennessee, after winning a hotly contested special election by 9 percentage points Tuesday. All right, I printed this off earlier this morning when I got up. Republican nominee Matt Van Epps on Tuesday defeated Democrat rival Afton Bien, according to the AP, in the high-stakes race to succeed the quitter Mark Green, who resigned from office in June to take a private sector job. The race was much bigger than just one campaign, Van Epp said in a statement after declaring victory. It represented a defining moment in Tennessee and for the direction of our country. With the GOP clinging to a razor-thin majority in the House, the special election was seen as a must-win for Republicans. President Trump carried the district by 22 points, and the quitter, Mark Green, won it by 24 points or something like that, or 22 points and then 20 points for him. And then asked by Fox News on Tuesday if he needed to win the election by a certain margin, Van Epp said, "A win is a win," and I agree with that. You know, he's a combat veteran, a decorated combat veteran. He's from West Point. He's going to be just fine in Congress. This was the very first time he ever ran for office, matter of fact, which is awesome. He got almost 100,000 votes in his very first election. Hands down, man, that was really good. Let's see, anything else on here? No, not really. A bunch of rhetoric in here. Afton Bien's overperformance in this Trump 22 district is historic and a flashing sign for Republicans heading into the midterms, Ken Martin argued. The fact that Republicans spent millions to protect this Trump plus 22 district is still lost so much ground should have had the GOP shaking in their boots. Okay, now I remember what I was going to say about that. So, the one lesson that should be learned by the Republicans is about this race, right? It's not that it was a plus 22 Trump district. It is how important early voting is to the Republicans, and they should take advantage of it. Because last week was Thanksgiving week. What happened last week? A lot of people went out of town, right? They should have voted before they left. I'll have to get back to her. But man, okay. So and then yesterday, put it worse, was there was a snowstorm in the area. So that's why it's important to early vote to alleviate the factors of something like that happening. Hold on just a second here. I can be like Graham Allen and send a text message. Let's see. Just a second here. In a podcast presently. She's probably apologizing right now. Okay, so there was last week was Thanksgiving week, and then yesterday was a snowstorm, and truth be told about a lot of Republicans, they don't like the early vote, so I'm waiting for election day. And what happened on election day? Snowstorm. So she told me K. So that almost cost us, but we won by 15,000 votes. And like what the future congressman said, a win is a win. All right. So we won. So when let's see, it was I gave you that. And then the two problem areas that I know he took point in looking at was Montgomery County and Davidson County. That's where he did his worst. He carried everything else, but he did his worst in Davidson County, which is Nashville. I'm not too sure. I think Montgomery County is just to the south of Davidson County. But I'm not from, what do you call that place? Tennessee. I'm from Texas. All right. So next is, we do know like 2 weeks ago there was a mayoral election in New York City. And the communist / socialist, more so a communist, Mamdani defeated former Governor Andrew Cuomo handily, right? So yesterday there was a runoff election in Jersey City, New Jersey, between the former governor of New Jersey, Jim McCreevy, against James Solomon, another socialist, right? So it looked like a rematch from New York to New Jersey, right? And you got the same outcome up there. Solomon beat the former governor, Jim McCreevy, 68% to 32%. This is the second former governor in a row running for mayor against a socialist that lost. All right? So that should tell the Democrats they got real issues. Stop worrying about the Republicans. Start worrying about themselves, right? So the next thing is on the JP8 report was yesterday there was a cabinet meeting for the president. There was a 2-hour long cabinet meeting, and the ninth one, and some of the stuff that came out was, and then he had a press conference afterward. So I'm going to give you a summary of what happened, just in case you didn't hear any of the news that was coming across the wires and stuff, right? Let's see. Summary of topics by the cabinet. President Trump described 2025 as the most consequential and successful first year of any administration. That was quoted by him. Cabinet members took turns providing updates of their work and emphasizing themes of slashing regulations, boosting energy production, lowering cost of gasoline. Man, gas is getting cheap here in Texas. We saw some like less than $2.20 a gallon. So the Department of State, Secretary Marco Rubio, was mentioned in the context of the administration's effort to end the Russia-Ukraine war, with special envoy special envoy meeting Vladimir Putin in Moscow on the same day, and nothing came about. That one right there. They tried. SecWar Pete Hegseth defended the administration's use of lethal kinetic approach in interdicting drug trafficking boats and their subs, in action that was drawn by partisan scrutiny due to reports of survivors and unverified intelligence and a fake news story by the Washington Post. Why do people even believe those things? One thing that did come out yesterday was the instance of drug boats in the Caribbean Sea and in the Gulf of Mexico has drastically dropped in the last several months. And that's not because of tropical weather, because there hasn't been any. It is the action of the United States military stopping and interdicting these vessels from bringing our poison into the United States. The Secretary of Commerce and Treasury, Secretary Lutnick, he spoke about economic matters. The president discussed a plan to potentially eliminate the personal income tax, replace it with tariffs. That would be great. Which he suggested would enrich our citizens. And he also announced the creation of Trump accounts for children. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Now, the only issue I have with that is we still have a $38 trillion debt that we got to get rid of. That needs to be paid down all the way. Then we can go to the next action, which is living off of tariffs. Transportation, Secretary Dulles, he said that the FAA needs $20 billion more to continue the upgrades of the nation's air safety system, air traffic controllers and stuff. The president also announced that he is totally rebuilding Dulles Airport from the ground up, from the hangars to the terminals to the runways. Everything's going to be rebuilt. And I've been to Dulles several times when I was stationed in D.C., and they've already been renovated several times. But it's like putting lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig, right? They're just going to go in and make it usable. Because with Dulles Airport, you show up, check your bags, then you'd have to take some type of sci-fi looking shuttle across the airport to another terminal, get out there, and then go to your gate to catch your plane, right? Evidently, they're going to get away from that whole system. Department of Homeland Security, immigration was a major focus, and then President Trump reiterated his hardline stance, calling Somali immigrants garbage because he doesn't want in the country, and urging them to go back where they came from. That's a quote, which I understand that. The rhetoric came from a major focus of fraud investigation from Somali immigrants in Minnesota, in which their governor purposely overlooked because he didn't want to cause a stir with the voting population in Minneapolis. With the military and foreign policy, President Trump issued a stark warning that Colombia and any other country selling drugs in the U.S. is subject to attack. True. Tired of seeing 100,000 Americans die every year because of illegal drug use. Domestic issues. Labor Secretary Lori Chavez de Reamer detailed workforce development efforts. The president also emphasized changing the trajectory of private property rights for farmers facing eminent domain issues. And then, where is that one in there? They left one off. Okay. Well, also, with the Department of Agriculture, there's going to be a mandatory recertification of all SNAP recipients, including the blue states. They have all this data from Republican-led states, but none of the Democrat-led states provided that required SNAP data back to the Department of Agriculture. And it was put out to them, if they don't, all SNAP benefits in those states will be suspended until they comply, which is the way it should be, right? Next, the president is pausing immigration to 19 countries, and it may expand to 30 countries from people that entered into our country the 20th of January 2021. So go back to the Wayback Machine, right? To present, every application is going to be re-reviewed, whether it be asylum claims or immigration claims or whatever. Everything's going to be looked over again, and that includes countries of Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, Congo, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia. There we go, Minneapolis, Sudan, Yemen, Equatorial Guinea, Burundi, Laos, Cuba, Sierra Leone, Togo, Venezuela, and Turkmenistan. All those countries, plus maybe 11 more, are going to be re-reviewed according to their applications to be able to enter into the United States. It's a high time that we make sure, those two shooters, the shooter last week and the attempted bomber, they were illegal aliens. There was a guy, I believe he was from India. India is not on the list, but he was illegally here. He was involved in a hit and run. I believe it was in California. Hit a kid, and then fled the scene. 11-year-old kid lost his life because an illegal alien hit the kid and left the scene. Well, they know who the guy is, so that's good. But get him off the streets. Secretary Duffy was talking about 17,000 CDLs from the state of California, I believe it was, or across the country was seized last week. I mean, we got to make ourselves safer, right? Judge Bosenberg, he's the one that's been giving President Trump. Matter of fact, before I even read this, it was breaking news before we came on the air. Jack Smith was subpoenaed to the House of Representatives. Republicans there want to talk to him about Trump prosecution or persecution, because that's about exactly what it was. I'm expecting a package, so if I got to slip out for about 30 seconds, I will. Let's see how. I think it's supposed to be coming by FedEx or something, but we'll see. I got to keep my eyes glued for it. So Jack Smith has got to go to the Congress under subpoena, so he can't take the Fifth Amendment. He could if he wanted, but then to go along with that, the federal judge he was working with, we can't. I don't know if you. At first, I had to reread this article at first, but he was blindly signing subpoenas for search warrants. And this is James Boasberg. Said a top federal court official defended Judge James Boasberg's gap order that hid subpoenas related to the FBI's Arctic Frost investigation, saying this week that the chief judge in Washington was likely to have been unaware of that the subpoena's intended targets were members of Congress. The administrative office for the federal courts indicated that the chief judge in D.C. routinely blindly signed gag orders when the Department of Justice requested them, including the Arctic Frost, the investigation that led to former Special Counsel Jack Smith bringing election charges against President Trump. The Administrative Office's Director, Robert Conrad Jr., provided the explanation on behalf of Boasberg to Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley in a letter first obtained by the Fox News Digital. The letter came in response to Grassley, Senator Johnson, Representative Jordan, demanding an explanation from Boasberg why he authorized the one-year gag orders which barred phone companies from telling Republican congressional members that their records were subpoenaed by Smith in 2023. And it said Conrad said he could not address the specific subpoenas and gag orders in part because some of the material was sealed, but that he could help the lawmakers understand relevant practices in place during Arctic frost. Yeah, that's a bunch of BS. It's invasion of the Fourth Amendment rights. Anything else? No. Okay. Are we at 30 minutes? Alrighty. And, you know, that man has been a pain in President Trump's side since before he became president again and after. Because if you've noticed, Judge Boasberg has been signing on to opinions to restrict everything the president has been trying to do ever since he took office. He's like the go-to guy if you want to stop President Trump, even on a temporary basis. As I was saying earlier about the Trump accounts, that was in the big, bold, beautiful Bill Act, which allows the federal government to deposit into some type of savings type of account for each child born in the United States from 2025 through 2028. All right? And then parents can actually put in the same account up to $5,000 a year, and it all be tax-free, right? So the kid can use it for a trade school, for college, for starting a business, or even putting a down payment on a home. So Michael Dell and his wife Susan went one step further and donated $6.25 billion, that's with a B, dollars, to be able to also, because the first one, the Trump accounts, are only good for kids born this year through 2028, and it stops. So what Michael Dell is doing for any child that was born in the United States up to age 10, you can get, and if the parents' income is less than $150,000, they will start an account in that kid's name, or I guess put it in the same account with the $1,000. $250 for each kid up to age 10, and it's supposed to cover 25 million children inside the United States. And same stipulation, when they turn 18, they go to school, start a business, buy a house, right? Is to encourage entrepreneurship in the United States. It's to keep them moving and improving the whole time. And then Michael Dell also said during his remarks with the president yesterday was that he's talking to other philanthropists to maybe doing the same thing. And, I would rather someone who wants to donate money to, I understand going overseas and doing stuff, but I would like for people in the United States to be taken care of first, all right? And that should be the first and foremost thing in our national drive to be better as a country, is to take care of our younger generation to make them more successful later on so they can take care of us. All right. So Elise Stefanik in New York, she's running for governor. Bruce Blakeman may try to run against her, but she already has over 75% of the elected Republican delegation support. So what that means is, like here in Texas, you got to pay a fee or gather your own signatures. It's your choice, right? Well, in New York, there's a law in the books. If you have a majority of the state delegation behind you, elected Republicans, you are presumed to be the Republican nominee or the Democrat nominee, right? So anybody else who wants to challenge you on that ballot, now they're required to go get 15,000 signatures on a petition to be able to be entered into the ballot also. So now that throws everybody to a disadvantage. But the way polls are looking, at least Stefanik is giving Kathy Hochul a run for her money to get elected to the New York governorship, which I think Stefanik will win. We'll see. About 30 minutes prior to the start of the podcast a while ago, breaking news came out. President Trump announced Wednesday that he will pardon Texas Democrat Representative Henry Cuellar, who was facing federal bribery charges. So he was allegedly took a $600,000 bribe from some Mexican bank and an Azerbaijani state-owned oil company. What had happened was early last year, he went up against the Biden administration about immigration. And he was trying to put out that the polls didn't look good for the Democrats because they had an open border policy. And for some strange reason, right after he did that, the Department of Justice under Merrick Garland decided to investigate him, and they came up with this. All right. So the president said that, where's the last part I wanted to read? Hold on just a second. Well, he got a full pardon from the president, right? And he had a Truth Social post also. Okay, it says, they will attack, rob, lie, cheat, destroy, and decimate anyone who dares to oppose their far-left agenda, an agenda that, if left unchecked, will obliterate our magnificent country. Because of these facts and others, I am hereby announcing my full and unconditional pardon of beloved Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar and Milda, which is his wife. Henry, I don't know you, but you can sleep well tonight. Your nightmare is finally over. And he's not running for re-election either. So he is free, all right? And you should have seen I read a letter that his daughters had written asking the president for a pardon. And it's go look on President Trump's Truth Social account, because he put a copy of the letter in it too, okay, from them, which was really good. But he decided not to run for re-election. So I think that's the same district that Mayra Flores is running in, and she's going to get elected. The next is... So I think this is the announcement the president is going to talk about this afternoon. So the president is going this afternoon will make an announcement and will unveil a reset of federal fuel standards that heightened under the Biden administration, which the White House said would save $109 billion for American families. As America's largest auto producer, we appreciate President Trump's leadership in aligning fuel economy standards with market realities. That came from Mr. Farley from Ford. He said ahead of the announcement, we can make real progress in carbon emissions and energy. Let's see, in energy something. Fox News learned that Ford and Stellantis, which used to be Chrysler, as well as General Motors plant manager, will gather in the Oval Office Wednesday afternoon, where Trump will announce historic reset in CAFE standards that were created by the Biden administration. President Trump is set to announce a reset to Biden-era fuel regulations that the White House will lower car prices. As the corporate average fuel economy, which is called CAFE, was first enacted in 1975, are government regulations for the average fuel efficiency of a vehicle fleet that aim to lower emissions. All right. Now, he rolled back the same regulations in his first term, but when Biden took over in 2021, he reinstituted them and made them harder. And see, what this is like I have a Silverado pickup truck. So they'll take that whole class of full-size pickup trucks and say, you must average this miles per gallon in your vehicle. If you have a sedan, all sedans must average this miles per hour, a gallon fuel efficiency, right? So what that does is it doesn't increase the price of gas that much. What it does is increase the cost of vehicles because they have to adjust the emissions package underneath the vehicle, which makes them cost more money. Look at the catalytic converter inside your muffler, the piping, everything. All the emissions comes off the engine and goes through your emissions and goes back out into the environment. That gets more complicated, more expensive, and it causes the price of vehicles to go up. The average cost of a new vehicle these days is $50,000 for a brand new vehicle. They're trying to drop that back down. The affordability argument that everyone's arguing about, right? That's what the president is trying to tackle. But that's going to be announced this afternoon. So what happened was the Biden administration, for example, boosted fuel efficiency requirements by 8% for 2024 and 2025, and 10% boost in efficiency by 2026, which was far higher than the 1.5% that was finalized under Trump's first term and applied to car models 2021 to 26. The Trump White House argued that the aggressive standards set under the Biden era were not feasible to meet with available technology for gas cars, and that the standards would have compelled consumers to shift to electric cars, which was more expensive and more environmentally hazardous because of the lithium batteries. The White House said that that Biden era regulations would have raised the average cost of a new car by nearly $1,000 relative to the cost under these reset standards, and that Trump's actions would actually save Americans $109 billion. All right? Anything to save money for Americans. So now we got some Texas stuff. There was 22 new filers at the Republican Party in Texas yesterday. One new Republican Senate candidate filed, that with Gus Khan, Khan, that filed for the U.S. Senate under the Republican Party. And hold on. Okay, just making sure no one's at the front door. And then one additional person for CD31, which is the congressional district I live in. That's Steve Dow. I know him. I've met him before. He's a 254 candidate. He's an Army veteran, and a member of the Army Reserve, and he's an officer in the reserves also, that he's actually running for office. Filing is continue on until the 8th of December. So if you're going to file for office in the Republican Party, or the Democrat Party, you have till next Monday. All right. And then Senate candidate, former Bush attorney at the Department of Justice, Trump. I know Aaron, he's probably going to slap me around. Okay, so he's running for attorney general here in Texas. There was a poll put out between him and breaking news. Hold on. No, that's not breaking news. Okay, so Aaron Reed's put out a poll that came from a company called Coefficient. It showed Reese winning the primary right now, 37%, or Chip Roy 22%, Joan Huffman at 6%, and Miles Middleton at 6%. And I think there was 27% undecided. It's early. It's very, very early, right? And then yesterday in the Texas scorecard, there was also a poll that was conducted. That's for everybody that reads the Texas scorecard. And that poll came out showing that Ken Paxton at 65%, Wesley Hunt at 24%, and John Cornyn at 11%, respectively, right? And that's for the Texas primary for those three candidates. Now we got one other person that just filed, Mr. Khan. So we'll see how that goes. It's still early filing. More people can file. You may get 10 more filers in there, right? We will see. We will see. And then I'm going to go over to the Texas scorecard real quick. Man, I'm fully distracted today. Hold on just a second. I appreciate everyone that is actually listening to the podcast today. Governor Abbott is asking Secretary Bassett to suspend the tax-exempt status for CARE. And CARE is Council of American Islamic Relations, because they are a front group for Hamas. And evidently Governor Abbott has proven it, and he's added the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE to the foreign terrorist organization under Texas law, and he wants to revoke their tax-exempt status. Texas Tech is prohibiting the advocacy of race and sex-based prejudice. And under a new policy this week, Texas Tech is prohibiting the advocacy of race or sex-based prejudice and coarse conduct within the system's 5 institutions. Under the new policy, includes a warning of non-compliance can result in disciplinary action. This is happening because Brandon Creighton is their new chancellor, a Republican. So you got the former Glenn Hager is over A&M now. Now you got Brandon Creighton is over at Texas Tech now also. So slowly we're reforming the educational products inside the state of Texas that make them more conservative and fair for everybody, right? When Mr. Van Dever, the state representative from the New Boston area, declined to run for re-election, 2 other people decided they want to succeed him. One is Chris Spencer, and the other is, what's his name? Chris Spencer and Josh Bray, right? Well, it came to find out that Josh Bray is he's voted in the Democratic primaries before in 2008, and he also contributed money to former Democrat State Representative Mark Homer, right? So he has a history of voting for Democrats. So this guy wants to be a representative in the Republican Party, but he has a history of voting for Democrats. You might want to take a second look at if you're supporting Josh Bray, because I wouldn't. Let's see what else we got here. We're running out of time. That's all right. So we're pretty much done. Uh, Today is State Day for the state of Illinois. December 3rd, 1818, they became a state. Their population is 12.78 million, most of which are Democrats. And then Ronald Reagan today said, man is not free unless government is limited. There's a clear cause and effect that there is a neat and predictable as a law of physics. As government expands, liberty contracts. And that's a quote from Ronald Reagan. All right. So, does anyone have any questions for the JP8 report before I sign off today? Nope. Oh, I do got one more from President Trump. I almost forgot. So, this came about from President Trump about President Autopen. Any and all documents, proclamations, executive orders, memorandums, or contracts signed by order of the now infamous and unauthorized Autopen within the administration of Joseph R. Biden Jr. are hereby null, void, and of no further force of effect. Anyone receiving pardons, commutations, or any other legal document so signed, please be advised that said document has been fully and completely terminated and it is of no legal effect. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, that was from President Trump. That's serious because who authorized the use of the Autopen? Only the president can. That is why that needs to be legislatively reformed. Because I believe if you're the president, you should be physically signing your own documents, no matter what. And he's making that plain and clear. Now, when I was working for the White House, I got birthday letters I sent to my parents, my parents and some of my friends and stuff, my kids. But I think I said some of my kids. I can't remember. But I can understand that with Autopen because they were just letters, right? You can't expect the actual president signing a birthday card, right, or a commemorative letter. But legislation, pardons, treaties, and such and so forth should have the actual signature James Pierce Jr. That's how it should be applied. I have a friend of mine that had just applied for an LLC. I'm not going to give up his name. And he got rejected by the state of Texas because he used the auto signature that came with Adobe. And what Texas wanted was a wet signature and then mail it into him. So that delayed him a couple weeks. That's what I'm saying. You got to have the actual signature on the legislation, on the official document to make it official. All right? So that was what that came out, and that was on True Social also. All right, so if y'all want to find me on my socials, I'm on X at James Pierce Jr., Facebook at James A. Pierce Jr., YouTube, the JP8 Report 67. Please go there and subscribe for me. I'm on Truth. There's my JP8 Report at Gmail for my email address. Don't forget, if you're watching this, go to the follow button and click follow. Click like, which is the thumbs up button, and share it out or repost it. All right? So that is the JP8 report. And the only thing on it is DEA launches new plan to combat fentanyl. All right. We shall see. I wish that thing would just completely disappear. So I don't see any comments or anything on here. So please like and follow. All right. I will see y'all tomorrow. So this is James Pierce with the JP8 report. I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm out.